Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Building Energy. We are featuring Black Powder Solutions and their CEO and president, Roger Simonson. Welcome to Building Energy, Roger, and we, of course, are coming to you from PBIOS. And if you just want to give the audience an introduction about yourself and the products that you're showcasing for Black Powder Solutions at this event.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I've been in the filtration world for the last 25 years and run another company that designs and builds magnetic filters. And about 8-9 years ago, we come across an opportunity on pipelines. It's very difficult for traditional filters to clean contamination in a pipeline, as what we reference as black powder. And that black powder comes out of the formation, whether it's gas or oil coming out of the ground, and it propagates itself going down the pipeline. You have corrosion, both bacterial and chemical, that causes more black powder buildup. And this black powder goes mostly under a micron up to the largest micron, 100, 200 microns, depending on the size. What's interesting is this technology is not prejudiced to black powder contamination particle size. We remove it from the smallest to the largest, whereas traditional filtration has a challenge to get down to 5 microns or even 1 micron.
So you actually, when you found this out, this is where it started for developing the magnetic separator systems to basically clean this material then?
Correct. They operate as a manual cleaning system, a semi-auto and fully auto systems that you put right on the pipeline. And as the gas or the hydrocarbon liquid goes through, we clean out all that black powder. And we do it without flow restriction, which is an important factor when you're dealing with pumps and compressors and so forth and energy consumption. We operate with very, very little energy use at all.
So when you say it's on a pipeline, that's interesting. So it's not restricting the flow at all. So where are these being placed? Are they right at the start of where the flow's happening, or how does that work? And you also said I want to get into the semi-automatic and the fully automatic, but maybe just are they placed at strategic points throughout?
Yes, where we recommend to install the black powder separator is before a compressor, before a transfer metering station, before pumps on the pipeline, so that we protect the pump or the compressors from this contamination that is very abrasive and damages seals. For natural gas, the world is all concerned about methane leakage causing global warming. So if you look at the pipeline from coming out of the ground right through to the end user, you have seals that are being damaged by black powder. You have valves that are being damaged, compressors, engines that make energy off the natural gas. If there's black powder in it, it's very inefficient burn, so you don't get as much calorie out of your natural gas, and you get methane out through the exhaust of that engine. So if you clean all that black powder out from the well to the end user and keep it out of there, you're going to reduce the amount of methane leakage.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Savannah Equipment, supplying mining equipment worldwide, and Corporate Traveler Canada, helping companies travel the globe simpler, faster, easier. We are heading to events across North America, Africa, and Australia, and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's Heavy Industry World Tour. You keep the world in motion, and you need travel support that doesn't stall your momentum. With Corporate Traveler, their seamless blend of innovative tech and tenured expertise means they know what it takes to navigate the tricky logistics behind oil and energy industry travel. Save time and money, and keep your team safe. Have an emergency? They've got you 24/7, anywhere on any device. Booking travel has never been easier. Get it done with Corporate Traveler. Visit them at corptraveler.com today. When it comes to balancing the growing demand on your grid with the growing need for more responsible, sustainable energy production and generation, you need the right partner. A partner who delivers long-standing grid expertise from a team dedicated to your unique needs, and one who supports that team with innovations designed for the future needs of your grid, while being rooted in proven electrification excellence. ABB is that partner. Its solutions enable safer, smarter, more sustainable operations. ABB is the name to trust to help modernize your grid. Contact them today.
So your system then, based on where you're saying to like the strategic locations, because that makes a lot of sense. Like talking to people that provide like pumps and valves to the oil and gas sector, that's a big problem. Is that wear and tear? So you also mentioned like with the semi-automatic and fully automatic. Can you unpack a bit of that? Like that sounds like that would be ideal for a lot of like, especially in pipelines when they've got that constant flow.
Well, we size our black powder systems to match the application. So if it's small enough, you can clean it manually. If it's on a large pipeline with a large volume of gas or oil, we then have to put 4 or 5 of our black powder separators on a manifold and split the flow through them. So how our technology works is we use very powerful magnetic fields to act as our media. So when the gas or the oil goes through the housing, there's no flow restriction. The magnetic field only affects the solids. It pulls it in and traps it. So what's interesting about this, if you take a traditional 1 foot in length, 6-inch diameter natural gas filter, it'll plug off 2 or 3 ounces. 1 linear foot of our magnetic separator elements will hold anywhere from 6 pounds to 14 pounds of contamination. So if we size it right, we can actually predict when you need to clean it much further down the road. Whereas traditional filters, sometimes it's every week you got to change them, sometimes twice a month. Whereas ours could go 6 months or a year between cleaning cycles. Mm-hmm. Touch points are a very important thing for safety, for your manpower that's operating your systems. If you have to go out every week and drive out, make contact with, change filters, and then go back again, there's an opportunity for injury. If you can extend that out to 6 months or a year, your safety opportunity is much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also mentioned, so with that safety part of it that's really crucial, especially now. Like people are much more focused on it seems, which is excellent. Getting people home safe. With these filters, that's like you said, the other ones they can plug really fast or have to be changed like sometimes in a matter of, you said days and weeks, right? Where so your units can be optimized for basically every 6 to 12 months. And it doesn't sound like there would be much for like changeover because it's magnetic. Is it literally just taking it out, doing the clean, and then reinstalling it? Or how does that process work?
Correct. For manual, for semi-auto, the magnetic array of the elements stays in the housing, and you operate a drive system and clean the unit and put it back into service manually. If it's fully automated with the PLC, it will identify its program and isolate itself, clean itself, and put itself back into service. So very, very little manpower required.
Yeah, that's incredible. And with these, basically any pipeline, that's whether it's like for oil or gas, they would all need some sort of cleaning system, it sounds like. And when you developed this product, was it 8 years ago you said that you developed this?
It'd be more than that, probably around 12 years ago. Then we incorporated it and got our patents for it and started to take it to market about 8 years ago.
When you need support and results with your project's safety, call Kaizen Safety Group, Inc. Breathing air, gas detection, technical rescue, and safety advisor services, all driven by their proprietary industry-leading safety culture and leadership programs, are the positive safety difference you've been looking for. Kaizen Safety Group, Inc., committed to the continuous improvement of your workers' safety and well-being. To learn more, visit kaizensafety.ca. OptiSize is a leading-edge geophysical acquisition design and software company. OptiSize provides innovative seismic survey designs utilizing the latest field technology and optimizing for advanced processing and quantitative interpretation techniques. OptiSize's mission is to bring sustainable exploration solutions to energy development with their custom land footprint reduction technology, EcoSize. EcoSize enables operators to focus on reducing their environmental and greenhouse gas footprint while imaging all their subsurface targets and reducing costs. You can visit them at optisize.com to learn more. Cut's fourth commitment to innovating technologies for the power industry has been the biggest driver in developing their innovative and unique offerings. Their patented easy change brush holder design, shaft grounding, and monitoring systems have been installed across the globe. Ever evolving, they recently expanded their offerings through the acquisitions of Insight CM, an online asset monitoring platform, and WSC Consulting Services. They are continuously supporting the power industry through the power of innovation. Visit cutsforth.com to learn more about their products and services. That's cutsforth.com, and you can also watch out for Cutsforth's upcoming 3-part series.
What was the testing like for that? Like how? So it sounds like there was a bunch. There would have been a whole bunch of testing involved then, from when you first launched it, then and then got like through the patent process and everything. Could you unpack that a little bit as well?
Well, the testing that we started out on was existing pipelines, and we did small and large testing on it to provide the evidence that this technology has an opportunity to be employed in the oil and gas industry for energy.
And when like pipeline, we're talking about pipelines and that, you also get into like the NGL facilities and the refineries. There must be is this product ideal for what they have, like those basically those massive hubs for when they're doing that? Is this being used in those processes as well?
Yes. So if we look at oil comes down the pipeline, it comes to the refinery. They've got a tank farm, and what happens is as the oil is going into these storage reservoirs, they bring the black powder, and over time, a year, 5 years, 10 years, they start displacing the storage area by building up the black powder. And it's still as well going into the refinery. And what's critical, if you got clean oil, your refinery operates with less energy, it operates faster. And when you have a shutdown turnaround, wherever you have our technology on, the black powder is no longer building up in the towers, on the trays, etc., causing damage and replacement and a longer turnaround period. Whereas if you keep it clean going in there, the whole process will be reduced of the quantity of black powder, therefore your time to do the turnaround will be a lot less. So back to production way ahead of the time of normal.
Right. So it must be, is there, the one thing too as well, like even for natural gas, I've never thought of it as being like that dirty, but it sounds like there's a whole bunch of contaminants that you can remove from those pipelines and refineries and distribution systems as well. So similar to oil, like crude oil, basically.
Right. So if you look at natural gas, after it goes through a gas plant, everybody deems it to be fairly clean, and it is. But if it's going down long distance pipelines, you have corrosion and erosion occurring all the time. Therefore, the black powder builds up and starts damaging everything along the way. And if you've got an end user, your customer, getting dirty gas, it causes issues with their production, etc. To look at oil, we were very fortunate in our testing to build a relationship with Chevron, who have endorsed us now around the world, and we're working with them on many, many projects now. But our first project was on a slop tank. 12,000 barrel slop tank. They wanted to try and recover some of it so that they could send it off to the refinery and get some value out of it. So we sent one of our units, or two of our units down. We cleaned that slop tank and recovered 80% of the oil. And it went off to the refinery. So huge cost saving, recovering value of their product. For Chevron, that's opened doors throughout the world with all their locations that they're at.
Right, and so yeah, actually that was a good point. Like for obviously with them being one of the leaders for the production. Is there other the system is it's pretty incredible and pretty innovative for the industry. Is there other you've mentioned like the touch point, like removing touch points, the wear and tear on the actual separator system, is it a piece of equipment that will last a long time as well?
Yes, unfortunately, our magnetics are very, very high quality. We've had our magnetics in service now for 22 years and they're still working. So we can't resell you another one. So it's a good value for the customer.
That's excellent.
But we have so many applications. They're beyond even trying to calculate the opportunities to put this technology. So we're not worried about running out of business.
And you actually mentioned this probably goes back to like talking about working with these big oil producers. The payoff for your clients, can it be like, are we talking 1 year, 2 year, 5 years? Like what sort of payoff do they typically see when they start installing your units?
Typically, we run from 1 week to 6 months for payout, return on investment.
That's incredible.
We have the Nashville airport. We installed a black powder separator on their aviation fuel. And they put us as the primary unit, and they had traditional filtration systems, and they were going through almost weekly all these filters at a very high cost. When they put our system in, they saved enough filters to pay for ours in the first 6 months of the traditional filters. And also the touch points as well. They're not changing them out all the time.
Is that the same too? Like that test, like you mentioned about Chevron, like with BPS and Chevron, does that, doing the work with them, does that also reduce touch points there as well? It sounds like it just speeds up the operation.
Yeah, wherever you install this technology, you're going to extend the need for contact as traditional filters have. We've got customers where every 1 week or 2 weeks they're changing out their regular filters. They put our system in and they're going a year. We've got a natural gas application on a pipeline in Portugal. It's been there 8 years now. They called us up asking if they needed to buy any more spare elements, the magnetic separator elements. And we explained to them, you don't need to. They're going to be there in another 20 years still working. And then they went on to share with, when they installed our unit, they put brand new traditional filter elements in their housing, and in 8 years now, they've never had to replace them. So that shows the efficiency of our technology. 99+% efficient in removing the black powder, and that black powder is consistent of ferrous and non-ferrous contamination as well. And we remove the non-ferrous through cross-contamination and through static charge created by the flow of the gas.
And we actually have photos of these different units actually, and we're going to show these to the audience. I just want to clarify. So like you've got the photo of the crude oil slop tank that was done with Chevron, and then you've got the other photo with EDP gas in Portugal. So is that the actual filter mechanism, like those, like what they're showing in those photos? That's what they're pulling out, right?
Correct. Yes. So also keep in mind, we've been working now for about 8 years with Targa Resources, a very forward-thinking oil and gas company down here in Texas, and they're putting our black powder technology on amine systems, glycol systems, loading facilities for propane, butane, that sort of thing on ocean vessels. We basically, on wherever they've installed our technology, wherever they installed it on the loading facilities, they eliminated the demurrage fines that traditional filters cause because they had to be shut down during loading and clean out and then start up again. And if they went over their allotted time for loading, they would get a demurrage fine. So we installed our units on there, and they went 8 ships before they had to clean our unit the cost savings are amazing. The return on investment on the first one was 3 days, basically.
Actually, that gets into, because you've mentioned the airports and then the ship loading. So basically anywhere where you hear about like the transport, of course. So anywhere conceivably that they're doing these ship loading, your units could basically, the product would enter much cleaner, and therefore
Yes.
and can also be used much longer. Therefore, they don't sit there as long, and they don't potentially run the risk of those fines.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
And their customer gets a cleaner product as well.
Which again, like you said, it goes, but you're not wearing out as many of the elements as fast, so less emissions leakage, and creating a better product and less energy used throughout the whole process.
That's a good way to summarize it, yes.
I want to get into, like, with Targa Resources, what was the process like for setting up that partnership? Was it like how much testing do they have to do on their end or have to see on their end? Or does it kind of all stem back from doing the work with Chevron, and they kind of use that, going, okay, you've done that, we're gonna take that information?
Actually, we were working with Targa years before we finally got a door open at Chevron. So Targa was one of our leading companies to take our technology on and take a serious look at it, test it, and then start employing it. They're a very forward-thinking company, so it made our job a lot easier to get our technology in there.
So they were looking at opportunities basically to improve efficiency, less wear and tear, and you kind of checked all those boxes with this product, and therefore they were like, okay, we can implement this.
Yes, pretty much that's the story.
What do you see for black powder? What do you see now going, kind of moving forward? Obviously, you're at the PBIOS, so there must be a lot of opportunities in the Permian Basin and beyond, of course, for people to install these. Do you think are you seeing the adoption be picked up quite rapidly now?
I wouldn't say rapidly. Change is always a tough thing to fight your way through, but yes, we are expanding business down here, offloading and loading of condensate or crude oil. All those things have application for our technology to clean it up before it gets into the pipeline or into reservoirs that they start filling up the reservoir and lose their storage capability. So when you after about 10 or 12 years, when you shut down that reservoir, it costs a lot of money to go in and clean it out. We can virtually eliminate that by keeping clean oil going in there.
Right, so that sediment that normally builds up in these tanks, you're eliminating a massive percentage of that as it keeps going through, correct?
Yes.
It's been great learning about the different projects with the case studies you've been talking about, especially with the major oil and gas players. Could you also unpack the improved performance in the amine treater system that you have put in place?
Amine systems, they're designed to take the CO2 and take the H2S out of gas. And if the gas is dirty with black powder, it comes in and has chemical reactions and it damages and equipment. It also reduces the life of the filtration, or not filtration, it's is a term for it, coalescing elements. They get plugged up with black powder, therefore they can't take the water out. So if we put a black powder system on the feedstock going into an amine system, the amine system is going to run far, far more efficient and proceed with more gas going through. If it gets dirty and chemical reactions occur, it takes longer for the whole system to take out the CO2 and the H2S. So we clean the feedstock, but we also clean the actual amine solution itself. So there's two opportunities with our technology on an amine system.
Okay, and you've been you've had this tried and proven with a midstream operator right there in Texas as well, right, for the amine treater systems?
Yeah. Targa was the first one. We've got Marathon and Hess. They're all working with us now. It's getting known, our technology, that it actually does what we say it does.
That's really good information that you've given, Roger, given like the case studies with the leading oil and gas producers. Maybe just if you could provide what opportunities you see, this would be a good closing, like what opportunities you see outside of North America?
Well, our technology is now being looked at and accepted by oil and gas companies around the planet. We're doing business now in what I call the sandbox, the Middle East, and they're coming to us. We're not going after them, which is a wonderful thing because it's tough to get new technology out there. We're doing business in Europe now. We've got some projects in the UK and Angola, Kazakhstan, and a number of other countries. Chevron's helping with that because they're all over the world, so that's a blessing for us. They just had an ADAPEC trade show in the Middle East, and they featured black powder at their booth in that trade show. So it's all good stuff.
That's fantastic to hear, especially like given that they were featuring your product. That's quite the endorsement in itself. We're going to wrap it up there. Roger, thank you so much for joining Building Energy. Love learning about the product and the innovation behind it. It's incredible on a whole for the oil and gas sector. And thank you everybody for watching this episode of Building Energy. And please follow us, or subscribe, I should say, on YouTube, and also follow us on LinkedIn under Crowns and Partners and Building Energy. And we'll have all the links for Black Powder Solutions, as well as the LinkedIn links for Roger Simonson, and you'll be able to find them there. And we will see you next time.